Hello, this is Tom Angelripper from Sodom, and you are watching Agoraphobic News. Have fun.
Hey, Mills here of Agoraphobic News, this time with Mr. Tom Angelripper of Sodom. Hello, sir, how are you?
I am fine. How are you? Thanks for calling.
I'm doing great. So,
Nice of you.
yeah. So, let's start with the first question, which is Sodom was in Serbia in 2012, I believe. So, do you have any recollections of that show?
Oh no. From that time we had so many shows done. Always forget. But the club, I think it was the first time ever that we played there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good question. What we can do, come often. We have to do more shows over there. We have so many fans worldwide, even especially there. But the political system is not always allowing the bands traveling around. That's a problem.
Yeah. And so, but I saw that you're going to have like a show in North Macedonia, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's also the first time. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Great. We are so glad that we are coming back. After all the years. We was waiting for shows and all the stuff. I'm so, that's my profession. That's my job. That's why I'm living for. Being on stage.
Yeah. Okay, so recently you released the 40 Years at War album. So are you happy with its reception?
Yes, I got a lot of reviews so far, and people like the people like the track list, because when we choose one song from each album, and we don't want to choose the hit singles, We were looking more for underrated songs we never played live or never played in the studio or whatever, or the rehearsal room, And yeah, that was really funny because we spent a lot of time listening to all the albums,
Yeah.
with the whole band sitting in the rehearsal room listening to Obsessed by Cruelty complete,
Yeah.
and
Amazing.
and then it was hard. The decision was really hard because on each album there are so many good songs you can cover, you can play, But that was really funny, especially when we go back to the first records, In the Sound of Evil, Obsessed by Cruelty, and a couple of songs, they were not always in timing and out of tuning sometimes, But we want to cover it one by one, playing more accurate. The drummer played more the Witchhunter style, but more accurate,
Yeah.
but being in timing if possible,
Yeah.
It was really funny. But now we rehearsed all the songs, we are able to put them in a set list in the upcoming shows, which is really interesting.
Yeah, amazing. And by the way, are you maybe working on a new album, new studio album, or do you maybe have some Lords of Depravity Part 3 or something like that?
No, we don't think about Lords of Depravity Part 3, because the story is told,
Yeah.
No, I think the first one, the Lords of Depravity 1, was very interesting because of the different line up, and the beginning of Sodom, the history, What I'm thinking about doing a kind of tour documentary,
Yeah.
maybe with interviews and talking about all, um, recording some shows, But when we came up with the idea for recording the old songs, my idea was recording a live album, and putting some rarities into live album. But the last 1 or 2 years, we couldn't find a proper show for recording something, because of the corona, And I'm always looking for special places recording a live album.
Yeah.
But we are still working on new material for the new album. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So do you maybe have, how many songs do you have written?
I think we have three. Three.
Three.
Yeah.
And when do you
Yeah,
think?
I can tell you, this will be the heaviest Sodom album ever,
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do, I don't know when it's gonna be released. That we are next year, or or 24, because I want to work it out without any pressure, It's
Yeah.
very important, when the songs are finished, everything is fixed, we can talk to the record company to get an option to release,
Yeah.
That's also the business,
Yeah, of course.
But yes, we are always active, During the Corona times, we had more time for writing songs and recording an album,
Yeah,
That was the only positive in these times, But Genesis 19 was a
yeah,
wonderful album because we spent more time recording
yeah,
it.
absolutely, yes. Okay, so and is there like a chance for the big Teutonic Four tour ever to happen? Like, Sodom, Creator, Distraction, Tankard, like touring all together.
No, I don't. No, I think there is just big one nowadays. We played a Mexico Metal Fest last month. With the big four. Was Creator, Destruction, Tanker, Sodom. Also, Hellhammer played, Gravedigger played.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but I don't talk to Miller in this concert, because he came to the show, and after the show we go back to the hotel. I
Yeah,
spent more time with Schmier and Garrett, which I'm still my friends. But I think it's very easy to get them. If you are a concert promoter and you book all the four bands, you get the
yeah,
big four. But planning a tour or a longer touring with this lineup, that could be really difficult because of different record companies, booking agencies, management.
yeah,
They all follow their own interests. And I talked to Miller and Schmier years ago. I talk about with them not touring because you are touring. You have a studio job. We have to find more. We have to find maybe just one weekend.
yeah,
Where we can do a bigger show in this country or in this country whenever here we have time. And this package is good for 6 or 7,000 people.
yeah, yeah,
And not just because Creator play, because the big four are playing. That is what the fans want to see.
yeah, of course.
But I don't think so that there is really an option to get this happen. In my opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah, I would really love to see like four bands playing with us, sharing the same stage. I think that would have been
Yeah,
great.
if you have a festival, there's a promoter who gonna book all the four bands. You got the big
Yeah.
four. But it's not the same, when we would do a big four tour, we can spend the stage together, maybe doing a session, after the show, whatever, being together for photo sessions and interviews and all this stuff.
Yeah,
And it seems impossible. My bags are packed all the time. I can go.
yeah,
When,
yeah,
when,
yeah.
when- whenever they want, I go.
Yeah, yeah, but I think this tour would bring a lot of money to all the bands because I think that everybody would be interested. Like it would be like a historical event, kind of in heavy metal, to have
I
all the
think
bands together. So
yes. I don't know. I think Miller would think, okay, when we gonna play there, just Creator, we sold out anyway. So it, maybe it doesn't matter who's supporting them, the bands. And that is not the deal. Um, I don't know. I want to do it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear that at least. So yeah, and so how cool is to have Frank Blackfire in the band, like to have him back?
He's a really cool guy.
Yeah,
Frank is some guitarist who never really changed.
yeah,
When he came up with guitar riffs, this riffs could be on Agent Orange, but this fact I really enjoy.
yeah,
And the second guitarist York, he's a younger guitarist with more influ. He's a big metal fan and with different metal styles. And I think both together, this old cool Blackfire and York on a guitar, that is a special deal. There is a special magic in my opinion.
yeah,
It's good to have two guitarists in a band. That is also very important. Now we are
yeah,
able to
yeah, 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 yeah.
to get a better show, get a better sound in a show. You know, to to perform songs we couldn't perform with just one guitar. There's a couple of songs you need a second guitarist.
Yeah,
And it's really cool. It's a cool band. We have got the best drummer in Germany.
yeah. Yeah.
He
Okay.
he really is Dave Lombardo Part 2, you know.
Yeah. But like, what about Chris Witchhunter? When you compare him with the new drummer, like, what is the difference in your
I
opinion?
think Witchhunter created a completely own style, you know, and that's what Tony Merkel is really interested in. He always was a big Witchhunter fan,
Yeah.
not because a Witchhunter was so accurate, he was not the precision drummer, you know. He was a drummer like Filthy from Motorhead, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes very chaotic, you know, but that's what the people really enjoy, you know. And Tony tried to combine some more accurate drumming with the Witchhunter style, with a Witchhunter spirit, you know.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to do, but he tried all the time, you know. He was a big Witchhunter fan, you know. And yes, Witchhunter, okay, he was got a lot of problems with alcohol abuse and
Yeah,
drug
of
abuse,
course.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And that is also reflects on the drumming, you know, when you play live shows and all the stuff, you know. That was
Yeah.
really sad, you know. But Tony tried to keep Witch Hunter's spirit and Witch Hunter's magic alive, you know.
Yeah. And do you have some like funny story related to Witchhunter, maybe?
Witch Hunter was always funny, you know. He was my best friend, you know. He was a really funny guy, you know. But you know, but the more he gonna abuse alcohol, you know,
Yeah.
that was gets more in a tragic way, you know. You
Yeah.
know, when we recorded the final Sound of Evil, you know, that
Yeah.
was really hard to do, really hard to work with him, you know, because this was the end of his alcoholic career because he knows he died, you know, when we recorded this album, you know.
Yeah.
It was really sad, you know. Um, that was not more so much funny, you know, working with him, you know. So
Yeah.
I remember in the 90s or in the 80s, you know, he was a really cool guy, really funny guy, you know. We always laughing all the time, you know.
Mhm.
But he getting more and more problems with this alcohol abuse, you know. I drink
Yeah.
my beers, you know, you know, but I know when to stop, you know. And Witchhunter was somebody who never knows to stop, you know. Even straight before the show, he was drunken, you know. That is
Yeah,
impossible
unfortunately. Yeah.
nowadays, you know.
Yeah. Such a tragedy, I think, really, like.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
So drink much alcohol or don't take drugs, you know.
Yeah. Uncle Tom says.
Yeah, Uncle Tom said, yeah, that's tragic. You know, I know what to drink. You know, we always have a good time after the show. We get some beers. I drink my Jackie, you know. But I always been sober before the show. You know,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that's really
so
important, like to
it's re-
have the band like
yes,
working with full force on stage with
it's a
like,
really hard job because Sodom's playing 2 hours in the set. You know,
yeah, yeah,
and if you're doing thrash metal for 2 hours, that's really hard. You can't get drunk before. You know. And
yeah.
the people are gonna pay the price, you know. They want to see a proper show, you know.
Yeah,
They don't want to see a drunken man on the stage, you know. But
yeah.
with Uncle Tom, that was sometimes different, you know, because all were drunk, you know.
Yeah, okay, so can you tell me, like, I realized that, like, Knarrenheinz, the mascot of the band, has the gas mask everywhere. So why the gas mask? What is like the symbolism behind it? Like, why did you choose gas mask?
That is, I don't choose the gas mask, you know. I remember when we looking for a cover for the Persecution Mania album in '87, you know. A friend of a label chief, and he got this picture already finished, you know, because he was an artist, you know.
Hmm.
And he saw this picture at his home, and wow, this is a perfect cover for my band. I have a band called Sodom, you know, and they have lyrics against war and about the stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So we chose this cover for our front album cover, you know.
Yeah.
And then Andreas Marshall, he did Agent Orange later. So the man, the mascot with the gas mask, which we called Knarrenheinz,
Yeah.
was on the most of the Sodom records, you know. There is no special message behind it.
Yeah, but it looks so badass, like, the gas masks, as like, it looks apocalyptic, at least when you
Yeah,
look at it, it's like it's shocking, like, you have a guy wearing a gas mask. It's always like you connect it with apocalypse or whatever. So
Yeah, but I think this gas mask, a lot of bands use on the covers, like Carnivore, for example.
yeah,
But
yeah,
different
yeah,
other
yeah,
bands,
yeah.
That is something special, But the Knarrenheinz looks always different to all when you compare all the album artworks,
Yeah,
It's always in a different situation, always a different kind of artist styles, And yeah, that's our mascot,
yeah. And so is he like a bad guy or something in between or a good guy?
He's a good guy. He's fighting against the bad things in the world,
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
It's even on the new one, He's fighting against
Yeah.
this one, this guy.
Against the
But nobody know
medieval times.
who gonna win this situation, this fight,
Yeah, yeah. And is it like, um, modern Sodom killing the old school Sodom kind of thing, play of
No, no, no,
like
no,
that?
no. I think both will survive,
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
When we looking for the cover for the new 40 years, it's not the best of, it's not the greatest hits, Um, I had different ideas for the cover, which I know that you don't have the box set yet, and
Yeah.
we have one artist, he's living in Australia. He's called Rock,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and he did this cover,
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I saw it.
That's
It's
amazing, and
it's so
that's
cool.
that's
Yeah.
I want to have on the front cover. And the record company said, "Oh, that is not a typical Sodom cover. It's too."
But it has like
is.
nukes, like, and it's just
Yes,
like
yeah.
a typical Sodom thing. Like,
And then I got in contact to Eliran Kantor, which also did War and Pieces,
yeah.
And I said, Eliran, I need a cover in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We don't have time to discuss what to do, just do a Sodom cover. And then he came up with this idea, which is my opinion. It's good. The people like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, my favorite Sodom song is probably Nuclear Winter. So I'm gonna ask you, like, what inspired you to write that song? Like, why Nuclear Winter?
But Nuclear Winter is not on a sampler on a new one, So we don't want to choose the hit singles, I think the title Nuclear Winter,
Yeah.
something brilliant, What happened,
Yeah, yeah.
What happened then when we get, maybe this will be happen one day, if we get atomic wars, and what happened after all this. Yeah, that's the only thing that's left is a nuclear winter, Nobody survived,
Yeah, of course.
The nature is completely destroyed, Life needs million years to come back, Maybe insects will survive,
Yeah.
But mans or deers or whatever is in a world or in the woods, will die,
Yeah.
That is a really bad scenario, That's really apocalyptic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you're referring to Nuclear Sword of Damocles, which is like a Kennedy's quote, right? Like, it was taken from a Kennedy speech about nuclear disarmament or something like that. I think.
Yeah, the nuclear sword of Damocles. It's the end.
Yeah.
The end. It's the end of everything.
Yeah.
It's dictated by God, maybe. But it's another story. But I always try to write lyrics, in a more fantasy way. But also based on facts. Without political opinion. Who is a bad guy in a war? Who is a good guy in a war? Nobody is. I think in this world we are all bad guys.
Yeah. And
the way we live, and the way we do everything, we are bad guys. We destroy our own world by the way we live, When we use plastic bottles drinking the water, it starts here, It's the small things in this world who destroy everything,
Yeah. So, like you said, everybody's like a bad guy in a war. So, and I think that's like the message of the movie Inglourious Bastards, if you watch that. So it's everybody's a bad guy. Like, in war, they're all bad guys. So yeah.
It's the same situation nowadays,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But now you get the situation when you're looking TVs or you get information from the internet, Okay, Putin is a bad guy, but the Americans want to now they were gonna sell this gas to Europe and to Germany, you know, and
Yeah,
the fracking gas system where they get the gas from, you know, it's very bad, you know.
yeah,
You know, everybody has the right to live, you know, and everybody has the right to survive this, you know, and that is politics, you know. And
yeah.
now I start understanding and all what I have written in my lyrics decades before, you know, will happen now, you know.
I mean, at least we're getting closer to that. At least, you know.
I don't hope so, no. But you know, you never find any political opinion, you know. I don't want to. I don't tell this is a
Yeah,
bad guy, this is a good guy. He's a fascist. He's a left radicals. You know, this one. I never think about it. You know, I just want to describe the situation, what happened. You know, when
yeah,
I'm not more in the world. You know, in the next years maybe what happened to my kiddies. You know, and what happened to the next generation. You know,
yeah, yeah,
they will get really problems. You know.
yeah. I mean, I think that's like a really important message to have. Like, look to the future and not like
And that's will
we.
all, yeah,
Yeah,
that will always be a theme, and also theme on the next album, definitely. You know,
yeah, yeah. And also like
I cannot change anything. You know, I'm not political active. You know,
yeah,
but I can go up on stage, scream it out. Remember the fall. You know, you know, I can. You know, I cannot change anything. I can try. You know, but
yeah,
yeah, but this is a big inspiration for me writing lyrics. You know,
yeah, yeah, of
the
course.
more bad things in the world happen outside the better lyrics are gonna write. You know.
Yeah, I mean that's like, you know, at least something good out of the bad. So yeah. Yeah.
I always try. You know. I never. You know what? I never change. You know. I never tell you do you have to do this or doing that. You know. But just keep everything down. You know. Keep living. Go back to the basics of living. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, if you look around, you know, I have a computer here, standing here, I have a TV here. I got the new Sodom box set. You know, there is a lot of trees gonna die for this, you know, because it's so much paper in it, you know. Yeah, that is not
Yeah.
the way to live in the next decades, you know.
Yeah. And also like in this song Nuclear War, there is like a verse that says use our soul for research in favor of nuclear technology. So were you like referring to Cold War nuclear experiments or something like that?
Maybe the coronavirus is not a nuclear biologic experience, you know,
Yeah.
experiment, you know,
Yeah.
because nobody knows where it's coming from, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
coming from the Chinese, you know, and we also talk about the so-called dirty bombs, you know. Nobody happened if this bomb will it explode, you know. How many people gonna die, you know? That is, you know, the war technology is always up to date, you know,
Yeah, of
and
course.
they always try to find better weapons to kill more people in shorter time, you know, or clean bombs, you know.
Clean
It's
ones.
yeah, that clean bomb killing very fast, you know, and
Surgical strikes, clean bombs, smart bombs, you know, that's the
yeah,
terminology, like, you know, the
yeah,
good war, you know, like
yeah. But
it's,
this words, you know, it's good for writing in the lyrics, you know. This works. These words are really what you call in Germany martialisch, you know, and yeah, that's what I use for my lyrics. You know, when you go and do this kind of music, you know, I have to write about these themes. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And also like, you know, in the 80s there was like a really big nuclear threat between the Soviets and the Americans, and like the Germany was split between East and West Germany. So was that maybe reflected on Sodom's lyrics, or maybe like this song
Yes.
Nuclear
Yeah.
Winter?
Yeah.
Because
There was
like
a
the war could have started in East and West Germany, like two blocks
yeah
going all out nuclear war. So
yeah. That's there was a big threat meant in these times, you know, because I was in the military in these times, you know,
mhm. Yeah,
and I was in a camp with Americans. You know, I
mhm.
was in a camp where they were working with atomic launcher. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
was called in German. There was a Nike weapon system. There was with atomic warheads. You know,
Is it Pershing missiles? Like
Yeah, missiles. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a kind of the Nike was a missile with atomic warheads
Yeah.
integrated into the bomb. You know. Yeah, that's what's something I. That was the reason why I read the song "Burst Command Till War." You know?
Yeah. I love this
The
song so
burst
much.
command you
Yeah.
get when you are a commander, you know, and you get the command to kick the button, you know, to push the button, and the rocket and the missile is going to the enemy's camp, you know.
Yeah. That's
Now,
insane.
but I think the most of them was interested in Vietnam War lyrics, and the movies, you know. But first one was Deer Hunter. That
Yeah.
came out in '79, you know. That was the first Vietnam War I saw, you know. And later come Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket, you know. And that was also when I write M16 album, you know. That was not the big political war. That was a war, man against man, fighting in the jungle, you know.
Yeah.
That was the war of a small man, you know.
Yeah. Of
That
course.
is really interesting. And yeah, it's stupid to think about all this stuff, you know. But for writing lyrics, it's perfect.
Yeah, and I don't know if you knew, like in West Germany, there was this Operation Able Archer, which was like a simulation of nuclear war by NATO, you know, in West Germany, and the Soviets were afraid that this might start a nuclear war from, you know, West Germany to Moscow and to East Germany. So they were like, you know, provoking Russians to see like how are they going to respond, how fast, etc.
Maybe.
It was
Yeah.
a test like in 1984, 83, but things like that can, you know, start a nuclear war literally.
Yeah, that was the
It's-
Cold War, you know.
Yeah.
And in Germany, there was a word called NATO Doppelbeschluss. You know, that's where the Americans and the Allied forces have they get their weapon systems to the border, very close to the border, to the Polish border. And then when we get what we call, I forget the English name for it, EU-Osterweiterung. You know, when Poland and the East countries coming to the European Union, you know, we got closer to Russia, you know. And that could be also a problem for the situation now, you know.
Yeah.
You know, when we chat the German unite, you know, that was the Russians said, okay, that is okay, but not closer, you know, stay there, you know. And Europe is getting spreading closer to the Russian border, you know. And that is a problem. You know?
Yeah, that's insane. Literally, it's all about nukes and like how they shift to the east, and like the more you are closer to the eastern border with Russia, you know, you're closer to nuclear war, basically.
Yeah, but this the new nuclear weapons they have, you know. I know that when they started the missile atomic, you know, it needs 2 minutes to get to Berlin.
Yeah.
Then so we have no time to react, you know. It's
There. Yeah, even if you like shut down some
once
nukes,
it's
like
shooting,
some
it's gone. You know.
Yeah,
I don't know what. It's really bad, you know. But you know, I'm not scared of myself. I'm scared of the next generation.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the kiddies walking around, you know. You know, I had a real normal life in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know.
Yeah.
Which was a better time, you know. I had a good youth, you know. My parents take care of me, you know. I was safe, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But now everything changed, you know.
Yeah. And so were you maybe inspired by Chernobyl, like because it happened like in 1986, and then you have like Nuclear Winter Song like the next year. So were you maybe also inspired by that?
Papa, what?
Chernobyl, you know, nuclear disaster. Chernobyl.
Yes. There's no special lyrics about this, you know, but but all the things you realize every day went to the lyrics, you know.
Yeah.
What I'd see in the TV news, when I read newspapers, you know. Sometimes I wake up in the night writing some lines down, you know, because I have a good idea for writing this, writing that, you know.
Yeah.
It's a shame, you know. But you know, if there is no more war growing in this world, what I can write about, you know. Flowers, you know, good life, you know.
Yeah. And that's like, you know, do you have do you maybe see some connection between, like, hippies and the, Vietnam rock kind of thing and the thrash metal? Are there some connections or not?
No, I don't think so. Because when the Vietnam War was growing and I was a small kid, but I remember when we got the TV, we had a TV in these times at home, and I
Yeah.
saw some documentaries, people are demonstrating in the streets, I was talking with my parents about it, but they don't really understand what is going up there,
Yeah.
And but I remember that there was bad thing happened, in Vietnam,
Yeah, of course.
I was a small kid, and then I forget everything, the Vietnam War was gone, and later I come back to the movies,
Yeah. Yeah. And so, like, in the song Bombenhagel, you guys, yeah, I forgot to ask you something. Like, in a Persecution Mania album, you have like this giant nuke. Is that like, the French Operation Licorne test or not? Like the nuclear bomb detonation? Did you
On the,
just take it like, because it looked cool or what?
on the cover.
Yeah, like in the back side of the vinyl, I think there is like a like a big nuclear explosion, like, and that's I think the biggest French nuclear bomb test. So
Yeah.
did you like choose it intentionally or not?
But that was not in the original press. That was in a
Ha,
more.
ha, ha, ha. Yeah.
I-
So it was added later, right?
Yeah. There was a Persecution re-release, and they
Ah,
put some graphics in it,
yeah.
Yes, I think if you see an atomic bomb spreading, it looks very massive,
Yeah.
It looks very spectacular for graphic design. But this I can't remember because that was a second press. I think there was a second press in US.
Yeah.
They called Vax Maniacs, they re-released all the older albums,
Yeah.
But I didn't get it I never had my hands on it,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of re-releases,
Okay, and in the song Bombenhagel, you guys are playing like a German anthem as if it's falling apart. So, what was the idea behind it? Like,
I know we got some problems about this, but why you play the German national anthem, but if you really listen to this,
yeah,
that's it's gonna break down in the end, with a guitar sound,
yeah.
with a tremor on the guitars, We are not proud to be Germans, but we are Germans,
Yeah.
And yes, when we play the song nowadays, we're gonna put this German in, I don't think that is a problem, because
Yeah, of course.
we are just Germans, There is no political message.
Yeah, but was it inspired by Jimi Hendrix? Maybe like
Yes,
when he
yeah.
did like.
Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, Frank Blackfire is a big Jimi Hendrix fan,
Yeah.
But he's not the big metal fan. He like more guitarists like Ted Nugent, Frank Marino, and Jimi Hendrix, which I really understand. I like this guitarist too, That was just an idea, And people say, "Oh, they're a fascists, they're Nazis, they're gonna play this." We are not,
Yeah,
Everybody who knows me personally or the band, knows that we are not.
But
We're just,
like it would be one thing to have some Nazi song or something, but this is like the official anthem, I think. Was it the official anthem of Germany, right? So it's
yes.
like a, Germany falling apart message or something like that. But that didn't happen. It unified. So it was a bit pessimistic at the time, I guess.
Now we are not, Bombenhagel song who just describes, I remember that my grandfather tell me stories, or my mother and my father, the bombs falling down, they're waiting in a shelter, scared about their life, that is about Bombenhagel, And we are not proud of our history, And
I mean, at least not about World War II,
Who is, there are a couple of, but we, war is always a bad thing,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's gonna start this,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And so, like the albums like Persecution Mania, Agent Orange, Better of Death, they were all released, recorded in West Berlin at the time when there was a wall. So did that have a influence on your lyrics maybe? Like,
Not really. I remember the first time recorded in Berlin was In the Sound of Evil,
Yeah.
That was the first time we recorded,
Yeah.
And that was called the Checkpoint Charlie,
Yeah, yeah, of course.
And
Yeah.
later when we recorded Expurse of Sodomy and Persecution Mania, Harris Jones was really interested in the German history, And we walk around and go to the wall, the wall in Berlin, that was something normal to us, That was
Yeah.
nothing special,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when we went by car, we need hours to go to the border,
Yeah.
because they check the passport, they
Everything.
check
Yeah.
the cars, We always had a lot of trouble because we take our beers from West Germany to the to the
East Germany
east,
and
to the
then
east,
to West Germany. Yeah.
That was forbidden, We got a lot of trouble all the time, But in this time, that was completely normal, And when the wall was falling down, that was something special,
Yeah.
Now everything was open. Now we could do more shows,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And we could go to Berlin very easy,
Yeah, of course. And but how come that you guys didn't play at this Live House Berlin event? When there was like Sodom, Tankards, Creator, Coroner, but there was no Sodom. So how come that you guys didn't play at that event?
I don't know. I think we never get any requests for it, There was no offer, in my opinion, Maybe we were different. We had a different show, That is often, if you book a show and you get 2 weeks later, you get a new offer for a better one, We have to do the first one, I don't know. That was.
Yeah, yeah. And was there like a big scene, like, on the other side of the wall, like big metal scene at the time?
Yes, there was a big metal scene.
And
this metal scene was growing up after the wall was falling down, because now they get chance to buy all the records,
Yeah.
And they were able to see bands were touring there, They were able to see live shows, metal shows, But the metal scene was in the underground in these times, But there was a big metal scene,
In
There
East
was there was
Germany, Poland, Hungary, other countries, right?
Yeah, there was a tape trading scene, They get records from Germany, France bring it with them, And there was a big metal scene, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Yeah. I know, so I saw like some shows like Sodom 1989 in Hungary and in Poland, I think, which were like big shows at the time, I think, right?
Oh yeah, we played in Katowice,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
the Sportek the first time. Was it 88 or 80, 88, 89?
Yeah.
That was the first time we played often there. That was amazing,
Yeah.
And we played just it was Sodom and the Risk. It's another German band we played there,
Yeah, yeah.
And I think a couple of support bands, and we sold out nearly, Or we played Sofia, Bulgaria the first time.
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
biggest we ever did, because we couldn't expect that so many people just come to see Sodom and one local support band, That was,
yeah. I never understood like why was Sodom so popular in Bulgaria? I didn't get it, like why, like it wasn't as popular in Serbia, like, and Serbia is like next to it, so
yeah, because
and
I think that we were the first metal band who played in Bulgaria.
yeah.
I heard the Scorpions play it before, but we talk about real metal bands,
Yeah.
And this is something the Bulgarian fans never forget,
Yeah.
And
It's
we
like
played we played a lot of times in Bulgaria, We did a live show there, which we recorded for the Lots of Depravity DVD,
yeah.
We played a couple of months ago. We tried to repeat this festival, with the same support band. There were a couple of thousand people there, We always had a good time, But we want to play worldwide,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's I think Bulgaria is a special place because of the history of the band's history.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my bags are packed. I can go wherever I want. We played worldwide. Sodom was the first band who played in Mexico.
Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, I saw the documentary, but I can't recall that Sodom was like the first there. So
yes, we played in no band till nowadays. No metal band played before. We played in Tasmania. That was crazy, We did an
Yeah.
Australian tour, and then the pro said, "No band, no band played in Australia, I can arrange something." And we got a couple of hundred people coming there. That was really something special.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
go worldwide, wherever
yeah,
you want,
yeah. And so, are there some other countries that you played for the first time as a heavy metal band? Like, some countries that never had heavy metal before.
I
Are
think
there?
that was just Mexico and Bulgaria, in my opinion, and Tasmania.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And so, yeah, I remember like there is a 1994 live album where you're playing "Remember the Fallen," and you say like "Stop the Scheise Krieg in Yugoslavia," which I
Yeah.
think that was really cool. Like the message of the song and like what you said. Like I think that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, we played last weekend. We played in Austria. We
Yeah.
play Remember the Fall. Yeah, stop the war, Mr. President.
Yeah, yeah,
Mr. President. Why you would try to find a diplomatic way to get out of this problems, to get off this shit.
yeah.
People like it.
Yeah, of course. And I saw some older interviews like that you said that Code Red was like recorded during the Kosovo War, NATO bombing of Serbia. So are there maybe some songs that inspired you like this war? Are there some songs that are related to this war, like NATO bombing of Serbia, like on Code Red album?
I think that was on a Code Red. I think the
Yeah.
Yugoslavia war was in 91, I think.
Yeah, but you had like a civil war like 91, 95. And then you have
Yeah.
like 1999, like bombing of Serbia, NATO
Oh,
bombing
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yugoslavia and Kosovo, etc. So was
Yes.
there like some song maybe related to that?
No,
Album?
there is no special song related to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I just put all the inspirations together to one song, to one lyric.
yeah, yeah,
There was there were a couple of songs have no historical background.
yeah, like,
Even when we talk about where you go to Court Red, there was Tombstone. Yeah, that was a shootout at the OK Corral, which is on based on historical facts. And the most songs are just coming from my brain. That's my own war in my own head.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, so let me just check. And now, so how did you like discover Agent Orange? Like this chemical agent. How did you
Yeah.
get into that stuff? What happened? Like, did you see some movie or read some book about it?
No, I get some magazines
Yeah.
from. There was a magazine out in Germany in these times called Num.
Mhm.
There was a collector's magazine which come out every month. And there was a big article about Agent Orange.
Yeah.
And that was also the idea for the cover. If you take the Agent Orange cover, in the original, it's a photo.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
photograph. Somebody posted it on internet. And Andreas Malz did a repaint of this cover. And there was a big special magazine about Agent Orange. Um, yes, and and then I talked to Witchhunter. I talked to Witchhunter and said, Agent Orange, it's a good title. Yes. What is it? Please read this magazine. You know what it is.
Yeah.
You never get your information from TV. There is not so
Yeah.
much documentaries in these times.
Yeah.
But if you're reading books or these special magazines, you get all the information you need.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then, okay, when the first Vietnam War movie Deer Hunter came out, they also talking about Agent Orange.
Yeah. Yeah.
They saw Agent Orange attacks, and or Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. And so, by the way, what is like your favorite Vietnam War movie? Is it Deer Hunter or not?
It's Deer Hunter, definitely, because it's the first one I saw. It's not a typical Deer Hunter, but I like Robert De Niro. I'm a big fan of him. And it's not a big Hollywood production like Apocalypse Now or Full
Yeah.
Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
It was a kind of documentary, and it was dealing with what I told before, the small war. When they played the Russian roulette, with the Vietnams and all that, these small things inspired me. And it's definitely the best one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like in the song Agent Orange, you're referring to Operation Ranch Hand, which is actually like, who's, Kennedy starting this operation, the use of chemical weapons. So that's sick, you know, like because he was involved in this biological chemical weapons program, but
Yeah.
you know later he died. So yeah, but he's the one who started it. So you know.
Yeah, I think with the Operation Venture, everything started in this war,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and from that time, everything is getting out of control,
Yeah, but you know, yeah, yeah, it's just, you know, insane. Like, and also like in this song, there is, you know, only you prevent the forest verse, which is like, you know, I think the slogan of these soldiers. So basically, the like the original slogan was only you prevent the forest fires, and it was like
Yeah,
something, you know,
yeah,
related to ecology. But they used that term like Smokey the Bear, and just said like
yeah.
only you prevent the forest,
And the
meaning
sec,
like deforestation of the jungle. You know.
yeah, and legalize the war.
Yeah,
Everything they did is legal. In this
yeah,
war, everything was legal.
yeah,
There was no convention. There was whatever you do to kill the enemy, it's legal.
yeah, yeah. But you know, like,
But you cannot legalize war. But in
yeah,
these times, they talk about. There was a kind of psychological warfare. You have to kill the enemy. Everything you do is legal. You can do it. You
yeah,
don't get any problems after it.
yeah, yeah.
The
You get
Vietnam
like.
War was really something special. Completely different to all the others.
Yeah, yeah, it's you know, insane. And so like during the M16 tour, you guys went to Vietnam. So how crazy was that, like to go there?
That was really crazy. Yeah, we planned to do a live show in Vietnam, in Saigon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And we found a music promoter. He was writing for a big music magazine in Vietnam. And he said, "Oh, there was never a metal band played there from Germany or from America.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we got in contact to a club called Apocalypse Now. Just crazy. And yeah, they said a lot of local bands gonna play there. The metal scene was completely forbidden. But other traditional bands gonna play it there. And then we got in contact to all the promoters, and he got in contact with some politics. And then they came up to cancel this, because we are too much pro-American. Yeah,
I mean,
they
like,
they
did
they,
they
on,
read the lyrics? Like,
they read the lyrics. Yeah, yeah. We've been there. We're talking to Vietnam veterans. There is a
yeah,
lot of pictures.
yeah,
We want to get more informations. We want to be there. To
yeah,
find more, to find the spirit of this war. And no, they cancel. No, we are pro-American. There is a song on this M16 album called
yeah,
Marines.
Marines. Yeah, yeah. So that's why it was canceled.
And
You know, banned.
you glorified this war. You glorified the Americans. And no, we don't.
Look at the
But
persecution mania lyrics, or you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Magic Dragon, or whatever.
Take us. You can't discuss. So there's no way that we want to record a live album there. We need more techniques there. We need a good backline. That was impossible, but we tried.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
then we went to Thailand, to Bangkok, recording a show. That was not a problem.
yeah. So was like heavy metal banned there, or not, or rock and roll music in Vietnam? Was it
No,
banned as American thing or not?
no, no. The metal scene was completely in the underground. It was, in my opinion, I think it was forbidden to listen to this music. It was forbidden to wear long hairs if you're a metal fan.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
There was just a handful. We get the contact to the local underground metal scene.
yeah,
We were in a cellar, drinking some beers, listening to me talking about heavy metal music. But you cannot walk outside drinking a beer, have a Motorhead patch or a Motorhead vest on it. You get a lot of trouble there.
yeah,
And it's a shame. There is a metal scene.
yeah.
It's
But it
worldwide.
seems, yeah,
But it
yeah,
was
yeah,
forbidden completely. No way to get it to make a concert.
yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. And so, like, you also went to these museums and talked to the veterans. So, like, how shocking was that for you? Like, because you were reading about that stuff and you made songs about it, and then you went there, like, to see.
I saw the pictures, the pictures I saw, but talking to the Vietnam veterans, that was very interesting, because I heard the stories, nowadays there is not more a big aggression against the small soldiers, there was aggression against the politic, not against a single soldier who was fighting against them, There was one guy who told me that he was shot by an American soldier, he gets some bullet holes in his body, and later, after the war, he met him again, and they talk, I got the order to kill you, so I tried to kill you, That was not my decision. That was not my opinion to kill somebody, And the small stories behind that is very interesting, And then when we came back home, I start writing the lyrics, There was among the Viet Cong, I learned a little bit, I learned more information about the little bomb, the bomb, which has got little boy,
Little boy,
which is a stupid name for,
for the biggest bomb of that time.
Yeah, what, Enola Gay, which throw the first bomb on Japan, The names are really interesting, And I learned a lot of stuff, But we couldn't play there. That was my dream. Doing a small gig there for the metal scene. Because the first line, I don't write. We are musicians. We want to play.
Yeah.
But we tried. But we did some photo sessions there. We take some photos. We had a photographer. He was from Metal Hammer, Manfred Eisenblätter. He's really famous here in Germany. Who joined us on the trip? That was really funny.
Yeah. And so, do you think that if you went there before, that Agent Orange album could have been different, or M16 album would they be like different if you were there, seeing all of these things and
Yeah, I think so, because you get more information. So you get information from people, that you can read in any books, or see in documentaries, I'm not so much interested in the history, but when I get the chance to talk to them, I get more information, The War Crime Museum was spectacular, And we also been in the Gucci tunnel system, to realize how the war works, how the small Vietnam could hold on against the Americans, the over mighty Americans, And I learned so much technical stuff, The Americans got problems with the M16s, the rifle, That was the reason why I chose a name for it. It was M16, This M16 was specially designed for the Vietnam War, but it couldn't help because they got so much technical problems with dust and heat and water and all this stuff,
Yeah, which AK-47 didn't have, probably.
The technical aspects is also very interesting to me,
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane story, basically, like, as if you're watching a movie, like,
when we've been in Tombstone, Arizona, I want to be there with the shooter at the OK Corral,
Yeah.
I was also a big Western fan, I was interested in the real gunfighters, like Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, the Cowboys, And it was very interesting, there is, all the historical buildings are gone, there is just tourists in Tombstone, Arizona,
Yeah.
But this was a place, they were fighting, That is very interesting, and that helps writing lyrics,
Yeah.
Emotions,
And were you maybe inspired by bands like, Creedance, Clearwater Revival, or something like that from the 60s?
No.
Nothing
This
like
band,
that.
I listened to this band, because I have a lot of friends who are older than me, they listen to all this older bands, but this band never inspired me,
Yeah.
I was a metal fan from the beginning, No, my first album was Rainbow Rising, And then I heard about there is a band called Motorhead, I tried to get the albums, And my older sister listened to glam rock bands, like T-Rex and Slade, But when Motorhead came out and later Venom came out, everything changed,
Yeah, yeah, of course. And it's funny, because Vietnam War was called like a rock and roll war, which you even refer to in a song.
Yeah.
So like the 80s, with thrash metal and Cold War madness, you could call that the metal war, like, arms race between the Soviets and the NATO. Like it was like a really crazy time. And I think that, metal war would be the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah, but in this Vietnam times, there was the music, the music
Yeah,
helps them to survive.
yeah,
There were the Rolling Stones. There was also the Thrash man, Surfing Bird,
yeah.
which was really famous in these times. And then I came, what is that band? I saw it in a movie. And
Yeah,
I make some research, and it was called Trash Man. It was a first punk band.
yeah.
It was really
And
interesting.
yeah. And were you into like a surf rock scene, maybe? Dig Dale or stuff like that, or not? Or
No,
just metal from the start?
metal
Kind
from the start.
Yeah.
Now I also listen to, I listen to, I like, okay, I like also rock music in these times. But
Yeah,
about
yeah,
but metal, I was a big Dire Straits fan. I
yeah,
can't, I can't tell the people. You like Dire Straits? Yes, I like Dire Straits.
yeah,
First, or the Police.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was because, but listening to metal in the 80s in the beginning was really something special.
Yeah, of
I
course.
remember in school, I was the only one with a Motorhead patch on it. Hey, Motorhead, what is just noise? And all my friends listened to, my best friend in school listened to a band called Adam and the Ants.
I don't know what's that.
Adam and the Ants. I don't know what it is. And there was, um, there was, the music was called New Wave. You know, what's really famous in Germany, or we had another direction called Deutsche Welle in Germany.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There are a couple of good bands there. But I was in the school class. I was the only metalhead there.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was really something special.
yeah. And you didn't like, krautrock bands, Noi or stuff like that, or
I
Can. Did you
Yeah,
like
I know.
Can, maybe?
I heard about, yeah,
Yeah,
or Wishbone Ash. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
um, Grateful Dead. There was a couple of good bands. But if you are coming to metal, you never stop listening to this.
yeah. Of course, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I forgot to ask you like about the Expurse of Sodomy. Like, it's like what I think like it's grammarly off because like there is no word Expurse or whatever. So what did you want to like? What is the meaning of this title of the EP?
I don't know. I don't. I like the word Express. Just got in Deutsch, we mean die Darstellung der Sodomie. And the people ask me, what is sodomy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's between sexual acts between gays. It could be also sexual acts with animals.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why I choose the name Sodom in the beginning.
Yeah.
There was also a movie called um, 120 Days of Sodom.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a correct English title, which was crazy, the most craziest movie I ever saw. And Expurse of Sodom, yeah, it's a good title.
Yeah. And what about persecution mania? Like, what's the meaning behind it? Is it like a mental like disorder or something like that?
Yeah, but what I talked before, the fighting in a small jungle,
Hmm.
and your enemy is behind. You always, if you're fighting in a war like this, you never can sleep. You
Yeah. Yeah.
always be threatened by persecution mania. In every second you can die.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And this is what I describe in this lyrics.
Yeah. It's amazing. And also, like, I think in the song Persecution Mania, you talk about some nerve gas or something like that, which is crazy.
The
Like,
Earth gaze falls in black and white. Yeah,
yeah. 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 Yeah.
that was I had another line in this. I don't. And Harris Jones, a friend of, he was English teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got the lyrics here for correcting. He said, okay, you have to write nerve gas falls in black and white. What it
Yeah.
means? It don't means nothing, but it sounds good.
Yeah. It sounds awesome. Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
people think
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
what is black and white, like rain, coming down in black and white. I think nerve gas is something you can see, you know.
Yeah. And what about the song Magic Dragon? Like it's also like related to Vietnam, but I really
Yes.
not aware of about
Yeah,
it.
it's about the AC-47, you know.
Mhm.
It was a big bomber, you know, and with this AC-47, they spread it down all the bombs, you know. Even Agent Orange was fallen from there was a big transport um, airplane, you know, who get all the stuff in, you know. That is the AC-47 was the most famous airplane in these times, you know,
Aha, yeah, yeah,
used by
yeah,
the Americans, you know.
yeah.
And the
Eh,
Americans thought the Magic Dragon. That was a slogan for this airplane.
aha, I
Was that?
didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, I didn't know about it. Yeah, but it's so crazy, like to see like how much history this band have actually. Like the history of the band is so long, and it has so much history in it. So I think that's amazing.
Yes, you know, it's 40 years, you know. But
Yeah.
for me, it's just a number, you know. Okay, we celebrate it, you know. We have this album out. There is also a book in a box
Really?
set. Yeah, yeah. Oh, there
Wow,
is a lot
that's
of stuff
amazing.
in the box set, you know. But I want just to show you the book, you know. I want to just show the covers, you know. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
sometimes
it's amazing.
the
Yeah,
the original covers look different to the what's later on artwork, you know. Or
yeah,
you will go to Ausgebombt, you know, the photo session. But the
yeah,
most interesting, you know, I want to give my fans a platform, you know. And on the last pages, you know, people write some stories about Sodom, some emotional stories, or
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Like letters from the fans, right?
letters. What's your experience about Sodom? What is your remembrance, you know? And
Yeah.
that was very interesting because there was one guy who told when he listened to Agent Orange for the first time, he met his first girlfriend. And
That's amazing.
all the time when you listen to Agent Orange now, all the remembrance, emotional, the laugh is coming back. You know, it's
Yeah,
crazy. You know, we get hundreds of them. You know,
yeah,
but we are strictly limited in the book, in the pages. You know, and I want to put all the statements to the homepage or the Facebook page, whatever. You know,
yeah. Amazing.
that is very important. You know, it's not just the music. You know, um, but the whole package in the box set is very interesting. We also get a tape. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
tapes are coming back. You know. Or we have a new single. It's called 1982. You know,
Yeah. So that's the year when Sodom started, right?
yeah, and that describes the revolution when we started. You know, we were against the parents, teachers, establishment, politics. You know, we just want to have a good time with the band. You know, just making some noise in a rehearsal room.
Yeah,
We never could imagine that we get a professional band. You know, or that the band name is still existing after 40 years. You know,
yeah, of
and
course.
that is what we're gonna describe here in this new song. You know.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. And so I forgot to ask you, like, I saw that a lot of these heavy metal scenes were like in industrial areas of the countries, like Birmingham, industrial city,
Mm.
Essen, Gelsenkirchen, industrial city, Seattle scene, industrial. So why do you think that all of these scenes popped out of industrial cities?
I don't know, but I think the life was harder, you know. Um, okay, I get my job in a coal mine, I get my money, you know, I had no problems, you know, but the life was really hard, you know.
Yeah,
The,
yeah,
the
yeah.
the air was dirt, you know, everything was black, you know, and it's completely different when you are living at the beach, you know,
Yeah, of
in
course.
America.
As a hippie in
That's
the 60s, like something
yes.
like.
So the music is getting heavier. It's in
Yeah,
my opinion, you know, the Venom come from Newcastle, you know, which
yeah,
also industrial culture, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
That's
don't know if this had an impact to our music, but it could be, you know.
maybe, yeah. Like it's literally not like flowers in the hair and sun all the
No,
time.
there was no sun and no flowers, you know. And
Yeah,
we were being gripped, you know, by this industry and by this everything, the coal mines around, you know. Everywhere you go, you saw coal mines, and that
yeah,
was different, you know. The
yeah,
life was hard, you know.
yeah,
and we had parents. We get no support from our parents, you know. they had other problems. My father had a problem to get his money, to work every day. We get no supported by parents for, okay, you make music and you're gonna buy you a guitar, whatever you want. My father doesn't matter. My father was disappointed when I quit my job in a coal mine.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
told him I want to be with my band. I need more time with the band. I want to get musicians. And it was really hard. And yeah, I think that could be an impact to the music, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, 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 absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Witching metal, that was, you know, we everybody was working, so we met after work we met in a rehearsal room and drinking beers and making some noise. That was we spent our free time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And what about the bullet belts? Like, did you saw them first from Motorhead or not?
Motorhead, yeah. I
Yeah,
think they were the first one who wearing
yeah,
bullet belts.
yeah,
The bullet, it's empty the cartridge.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I've always been in my hunting.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in guns and ammunition, weapons. And I saw this band wearing a machine gun, bullet
Yeah, bullet
belt.
belts.
I like it. But it was impossible to buy this in Germany in these times.
Yeah.
So I've been the first one I bought when I've been in England in '86. I bought my first bullet belt.
Amazing. Yeah.
A
And
chrome colored, like Lemmy, because Lemmy, he was really an idol for me.
yeah, I don't know if you know, but he got that bullet belt from some Vietnam War veteran, literally. Like some guy, I think the British guy who was in Vietnam War, and then somehow he gave him a bullet belt and he used it as a part of his image.
Yeah, and Lemmy make it common. He make it. Then it started kind of fashion.
Yeah,
And later also the punk scene, the punk fans using
yeah,
gun belts.
yeah, yeah,
It's looking great. There is no message behind using
yeah.
it. But
And
there
so
was just empty shells, without powder and the bullet on it.
yeah, yeah. And so were you friends with Lemmy?
Not really. I met him a couple of times. We've been on tour with him in '93, I think. And then I saw him the first time. I was so proud to be with Motorhead on tour. I was also creator and Entombed. We and Motorhead. That was great so we could see Motorhead show every night, for free.
Which was
And
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, and sometimes I met him at full force. And you cannot talk about music. He always want to talk about politics. He never mind what's. I don't ask him. Do you listen to the new Hammerfall album? He never mind. We were not friends. I met him a couple of times. We get some whiskeys together. But not really friends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, but how did this heavy metal thing, like thrash metal, happen in Germany? Like, I don't get it. Like, was it Venom and Motorhead and Metallica or what? Like, how did it spread so fast with all these great bands coming from West Germany at the time? So why do you think that's?
But nobody was talking about thrash metal in these times.
Yeah,
That was heavy metal.
yeah,
And that is very interesting that bands from America or Europe or Germany is spreading at the same time, but we get no informations about whose band is forming in America. And because there was no magazines and no internet, we get no informations about it. But
yeah,
I was in a tape trading scene, and I got some tapes. I got the first demo from Slayer. I bought it. There was a dealer who was dealing with tapes, and I bought everything. I was so interesting. I remember he came. I get a band from France, Vulcane.
yeah,
I never heard. Listen to this. And that's why we get into the metal scene. That we get informations. And we had a record store here in my hometown. And he got vinyls. He gets the records 3 months before they're gonna be released in Germany, official.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
spent a lot of money. And that was there. I bought the first Venom record.
Amazing. Yeah,
I get a phone call. I get a new band from Newcastle, Venom. For Venom, and I got this album, and I paid I paid a lot of money for it, but I was the first one to get it, And from that time, everything changed,
Yeah. It's like, the whole world changed with one vinyl, probably, like, that level of heaviness,
And that's definitely this Venom record, And later I got the Slayer. I get him always a couple of months, I think Motorhead was very common in this time. You get it in a regular record store, But things like Venom or Slayer was really hard to get,
Yeah. I guess. Yeah, probably.
I spend
And
a lot of money for tapes and vinyls, in these times, I want to be the first one,
yeah.
I couldn't wait, I want to get it now,
Yeah, and so like, but who were your biggest bass influences? Like, when it comes to bass
I
playing?
think when it comes to Lemmy, it's not. I think what Lemmy is gonna do is not a real bass player,
Yeah,
But who is the real bass player in a metal band,
yeah,
If you talk about bass player, you have to get more to pop music, or jazz music, where a really bass playing is completely different what metal
yeah,
bands do,
yeah, 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 yeah.
But I was inspired by Venom, definitely because Venom was it was a little bit like Motorhead, but more of bass sound, you
Yeah.
know. If you listen to Witching Metal, when you start playing the bass, just kicking on it, it was fantastic,
Yeah.
Or LG Ward from Tank, he plays a really good rock and roll bass, which I really like, Or the best one is John Gallagher from Raven,
Mhm. Yeah.
He's in a technical way the best bass player I ever seen, Yeah, but I want to, in the beginning I was a drummer, in Sodom.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think okay, we have a band. What we gonna do? Who is playing which instrument? I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, I tried drums, it's not my job, and I couldn't play guitars. So Aggressor played the guitars, and I take the bass. It's easier because just of 4 strings, you know. It's not easier to play bass,
Yeah,
And then we learned, and we start writing songs,
yeah, yeah, amazing.
But I never get a teacher who learning
Yeah, of course.
bass
Yeah,
guitar,
yeah.
And John Gallagher, for example, he learned really. He's a bass player you cannot compare with nobody else,
Yeah. And what about the vocals? Like, was it Lemmy or Kronos or somebody else?
And then there was a mixture between LG Ward and Kronos,
Mhm.
Kronos was more, LG Ward was more melodic, and there are so much good singers around, You listen one note, it's LG Ward. You listen, it's Lemmy, That was very important to me to create an own voice, My favorite singer nowadays it's all the time is Tom Araya,
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
He
But
was
it's
definitely because he would get more into screaming, and Venom Kronos was more the shouting guy,
yeah,
And I am able to both, I could do Lemmy vocals, I can do Slayer screaming or growling or shouting, whatever,
yeah, yeah, amazing, yeah. Okay, and so like this album cover of Decision Day, can you explain what, like, I have a wallpaper like here on the screen. It's like a really big picture. So can you describe what's going on in the picture of Decision Day artwork?
I can't because that is I just talked to Joe Petagno, he's God, he's the
Yeah,
godfather of artists, of
yeah,
artworks,
yeah, yeah.
And we talk about, I'm gonna send him a couple of lyrics, and also send some pre-productions and he start painting it, I
Yeah,
said Knarrenheinz being in the center, and it's a scene from Sodom and Gomorrah, you know,
mhm,
when Sodom and Gomorrah burned down by God, you know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
which is not really, it's not, it's just fantasy,
yeah, yeah,
and Genesis 19 is a capital, is a part from the Bible, And this I talked to Joe and said, Joe, okay, God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and Knarrenheinz is God, you know, and I need fire. I need this one. I need explosions and all the stuff. And he told me, okay, I know exactly what you want, you know. And then I heard nothing from him about weeks or months, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And one day I remember I get a PDF file, you know, it was really original, big file. It's getting my computer. Here it is. That's a cover, you know.
Yeah.
I like it, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes the artists they don't want to discuss, you know, about what doing this, doing that, you know. He needs some information about. He needs a way. He needs a direction to go, you know. And then I let him go, and he gonna do this cover. You know, it was the same with with a new album. You know, that was Eliran Kantor. He painted also War and Pieces, the cover. You know, I said, Eliran, I need a cover in the next 2 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna do it. See you now, boom. And he puts a Knarrenheinz and the first one, what you call the Henker on In the Son of Evil, putting on one cover. You know, fighting. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
But
is
it's so relevant with, you know, American and Russian flag and nukes flying, and you know, and at the bottom you have like basically pretty much Stone Age or something like that, you know.
Yeah, that was a decision. You know, the American flag and the Russian flag. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
my first idea was taking an AK-47, a gun with the American flag in it, and an M16 with the
yeah.
Russian flag. You know,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
because
yeah,
this is, you know, it's just a gun. It's a Russian gun. It's an American gun. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I want to show the people we are just men. We're just mankind. It doesn't matter if you are Russian or American. You know, it's so when you listen to the latest version of Bombenhagel, we put the Russian anthem in it, a small part of it, and also the American.
yeah.
It's not only because American and Russia, you know, the biggest government. You know, we are living in one world. That what I show the people, you know, and yeah, that decision they cover, it's great, you know.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, it's like really artistically made, you know, like with a lot of details, and it, you know, it gives you a message. So yeah, I think it's amazing, basically.
I'm so glad that Joe Petagno did the cover for us, you know, because he don't want to paint for every band, you know. He gets so many offers, you know, and if you don't like the band, if you don't like the lyrics and the attitudes, you don't do it, you know.
Yeah, 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 of course.
He's an old guy. He's 76, 77, you know. You know.
Yeah,
But for me, you know, as a Motorhead fan, Joe Petagno gonna do the cover for us, you know. It's unbelievable, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And are you maybe working on a biography or something like that, like some book?
No,
I mean, you showed me like some book for the, you know, box set, but
no,
like
that's
the big book.
that is not a really book, you know. I just have there's some a couple of words for myself, you know. That's about, you know. I don't want, you know. I know there is a Mexican guy who want to write a Sodom book. It's more like a discography, you know, and some shows, you know. But when I'm gonna write my personal book, my own biography, you know, I need more time, you know.
Yeah.
When I finish doing the music, when I stop doing the music, gonna write the book, you know. Because when I write this book and I write a lot of business, you know, I will never come back, you know, because I'm gonna tell the truth about the business, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I will never get the chance to make a record in any record when I'm gonna tell the truth, you know.
Yeah.
That's what I do when I retire. That's what I do when I stop doing music, you know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean,
But
it would be at least smart, but you know,
you know,
smart way to do it.
nowadays I never think about retiring, you know. I don't want to die on stage like Lemmy, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
saw the last Motorhead shows, you know.
yeah.
This man don't have to be on stage, you know.
Yeah, but he was, you know, he was when I saw him like at Exit Festival, he was already basically like that, you know, like he could barely sing, but he's a hero to me because, you know, he went through the end, you know, like he
Yeah.
wants to die on stage, so yeah.
So I don't want to. It's not the way I'm gonna do it, you know. I like the Tom Araya, you know. He said, "Okay, this is my last show. I
That's
go
it,
home,"
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And after he plays the last note, he put the bass. going to the microphone, standing there, goodbye.
Yeah.
And the wife was waiting there. Come home. No. Now he's
So,
relaxing. Now he's retiring. He has an own
yeah,
farm in US America, He
yeah,
enjoys the life, with his kiddies, and grandkiddies and all the stuff. Yes, that's the best way to go.
yeah,
I know that a lot of people are gonna miss Slayer and miss Tomariah.
yeah, of
No, but
course.
he has still an own life. He's younger than me.
Yeah.
But I think he spent a lot. He has a lot of money to do this. When I retire now, I have to make my live from the music. It's not just the money. But where I get the money from when I don't do music.
Yeah. And I forgot to ask you about your picking style, like the way you pick strings. Like it looks like. Are you picking like to up
Upstroke,
upstroke?
upstroke.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm the only bass player who I don't know why. It's not you always hit from the top. Not from the bottom. But if
yeah.
I play in this way, I get more control, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When I do the single strokes, in my opinion, no, it's wrong, but I get more control, and I can change it nowadays.
Yeah. Okay, and the last question, like, what are your favorite? Can you name like five of your favorite albums or something
You
like
know
that?
already.
So it's like Venom, Motorhead, Rainbow, and I don't
No,
know what.
it's not Raymond. No. I think it's definitely Venom. Welcome to Hell. It's definitely okay without Motorhead. I like it. Sometimes it changed. I like the first Metal Church,
Yeah.
which is in my opinion one of the best metal albums ever. I like Exciter Heavy Metal Maniac because
Yeah.
this is a part of my youth, a part of my life. 3. Judas Priest. I'm a big old school Judas Priest fan. And Screaming for Vengeance is the metal album which really works all the time when I'm going to listen to this. And the fifth one, the Tank.
Yeah.
Tank, the first 4 albums. Field
Yeah.
Sounds of Hades. I think Field Sounds of Hades. It's the most typical Tank album. With the second one or the third one or the Honor and Blood, they really changed because there's a second guitarist in the band, different band. But the first one, Field Sounds of Hades, is absolutely amazing. That is a part of my history, a part of my youth.
Yeah. Okay, and do you maybe have some final words or something that you would like to share with the fans, like for this interview? Like,
In Serbia,
I mean, in general, because like my channel is like it has a lot of
but
Western
what I
followers.
always tell a lot of what a lot of musicians forget where they come from. I always want to thank my fans. I want to give something back. What are you gonna say after the show, if it's possible? Doing a signing session. Giving a plectrum, drinking a beers, whatever. So-called rock stars, they leave the stage, go to the hotel. That's what I want to give something back. And I know that these fans supported the band all over the decades. They're gonna pay the price. They're gonna
Yeah.
buy the box. They're gonna buy the ticket for a show, whatever. And this is something I remember every day, and I will never forget it. Because we never forget where we come from, and we never forget who's gonna pay the price. I
Yeah.
can just thank you for supporting the band.
Yeah.
Without my fans, I wouldn't be here and doing an interview with you.
Yeah.
We are just metal fans making music for a while. That is a big difference from Sodom to all the other bands.
Yeah.
We are no rock stars. That is
Yeah.
that is that is the difference. We are not so big, but we are a big part of the international metal scene, but we are no rock stars. We love the music, we love what we do, and we do it for our fans and not
Yeah.
for any record companies.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this interview and have a nice day.
Hope to see you in your country maybe next year if there are some
Yeah.
promoters around, who want to book.
maybe Exit Festival, or I don't know, Rakic or someone. I don't know.
Yes,
who.
I heard about. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
We
it's
go.
either Rakic or I don't know.
Yes,
Exit
we want to
Festival.
go. Please
Yeah.
help us.
Okay. Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for your time and have a nice day. See ya.
Take care. See you. Bye.
Bye. Hey people, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Agoraphobic News. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help us grow. You can also support us on Patreon by becoming one of our patrons. And big shout out to our patrons Amber Dawn and Season of Mist for supporting our work. So stay tuned for another interview and keep it metal.